All right. Good afternoon and welcome back to another virtual empowerment session hosted by the Lexington Housing Authority. We are so excited to be here every month to provide some really great information, great resources, great insight from our wonderful speakers. And we have a I call her OG now. She has participated last year with us as a speaker, and it was a phenomenal workshop. I was empowered myself, and definitely took some tips and tools from Miss Kia Lanae from the things that she shared with us. Just a few things. Whoever's in the room, definitely leave a comment. Leave me a comment and say, hey, let us know you're in the room. And We're excited for this workshop today. For those who don't know, I am Whitney Middlebrooks. I am the Family Self-Sufficiency Program Coordinator with the Lexington Housing Authority. Those who know me know that I'm really passionate about helping my participants achieve their goals and provide resources and assist them along the way through the journey of life and through the journey of self-sufficiency and empowering them in any way that will give good vibes and reassuring that they can do whatever they put their mind to. So I'm going to go ahead and lead in with Miss Sage, have her introduce herself. And I just want to say real quick, any of my FSS participants that are in the live today, again, please leave a comment, say hello. At the end of it, we'll have like a quick Q&A. Miss Lanae will ask a question and we'll see whoever gets it right. So just definitely, pay attention, interact, ask questions. We want it to be interactive. We don't want to just talk to ourselves. We want you to talk back to us and just participate. And let's really enjoy this. So I'm gonna have Miss Sage go ahead and lead with her introduction and introducing our speaker today.
Hi, I am Sage Chioma, and actually, I am the coordinator of B.O.S.S initiative, working alongside FSS, Family Self-Sufficiency Coordinator Whitney Middlebrooks. And B.O.S.S initiative stands for Building Our Success Stories. And we have had Miss Kia Lanae, an empowerment speaker last year, give her signature talk, which was Say Yes to You. And it was February, which was a different take on Valentine's Day for us. Say Yes to You is what her talk was. I want to tell you, I met Kia Lanae when we were trained as emotional emancipation facilitators in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I've watched her work and I've seen her in action. And whenever I can have her on a panel or anything like that, I always call her. Kia is a modern day Renaissance woman. Kia Lanae is a communication specialist, an empowerment speaker, writer, performing artist, certified emotional emancipation circle facilitator, and she is the creator of Edified Newsletter. Whether delivering a signature keynote address in the area of personal development, uplifting and gathering women together, organizing and facilitating community and cultural healing and uplifting initiatives, writing or performing, this overcomer is grateful and passionate about her work, her people, and her continued evolution. Her natural, captivating style, coupled with her authenticity, Kia infuses her presentations with high energy and a type of artistry that fully engages her audiences. Today, Kia has agreed to come and share with us on the power is within. Love yourself, heal yourself, and free yourself. And without further ado, I give you Kia Lanae.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Sage. I just appreciate the invitation, you and the Lexington Housing Authority and Miss Whitney. Here we are again. The I know we keep saying it, but the time is doing something different. It's moving very, very quickly. So for us to be here once again, the same time we were together last year is just pretty remarkable. But I am grateful to be here. We all know the times that we are living in. And so the fact, like we were saying before, that we're all here and at least fairly well and in our right minds for the most part is really a blessing. It really is. So we are just going to spend some time together like we did before. I have some things that I do want to share, and I definitely, like you said, Whitney, want to hear from those in the room. We do understand that it's the top of the week and that it's the middle of the day. And but this day and age schedules are just kind of different, right? So the traditional 8 to 5 is kind of, it's been changing. So those who are on the way, those who will listen to the replay, we just say thank you. And I hope that there's something that you would hear today, that you would need to hear, that would encourage you and offer some type of inspiration. And just you would get your cup filled today. So that's why we're here talking about the power is within. Before I get into this message today, I do want to just say, um, thank you for the opportunity. I don't take it lightly. This is a part of my work, and I'm grateful to be here and just for the sisterly connection. That is so important. And Sage, you have mentioned when we met some years ago during emotional emancipation work with CHN, and just to see how the relationship has evolved over time. Even though we're in different states and everything, when we talk, it's like we just talked the other day. So to have those soul sister connections, and if you're brother, soul brother connections, soul sister connections are really a blessing, and something that I don't take lightly. So I thank you. I thank you both, Whitney, the work that you do in the community. I'm connected to you on Instagram, so I know I'm like, it's expo time, and you do what you do, and you give opportunity for so many people who have their own businesses in the community. So thank you for that. Thank you, Miss Sage, for all of your work as far as your healing work within our community, interracial, um, across ethnicities, just all of your work. So I am honored to be here with you too at this table that we have set, that has been set for us. Let me correct myself for today. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. The power is within. I was trying to decide if I was going to share how this came about. I might share a little later. Conversation Sage and I had, just talking about, again, saying yes to you, what that means, reviewing what we shared last year, reviewing where we are in life, and just looking at the grand scheme of things in the time that we're living in 2022. And with so much going on, I'm like, I feel like I'm always saying there's so much going on. These are turbulent times. They are turbulent times. They are heavy times, but there's also a shift going on at the same time. And it's so important during these times. And even if, some of the things that were taking place, were not, it's so important for us to understand and tap into the power that is within us. Nowadays, we hear more about this. We hear more about health and wellness. We hear more about getting your healing. We hear more about self care and self love. But today we're going to get into just a little bit into the thick of that and what that actually means. What it means to understand and move forward in the power that is within us, the power that the Most High God has placed within us, the divine power. What does that mean? What does that mean to acknowledge it? What does that mean to embrace it? And what does it mean to move forward in it? Specifically, what does it mean to love ourselves? What does it mean and what does it look like? Because it's not the same for everybody in some of these areas, but there are some things that are universal. But what does it mean for us to help heal ourselves? And what does it mean to free ourselves? That word alone, when we talk about freedom and liberation and healing, love is the key ingredients. Love and hope and peace are the key ingredients. Because we know that when we truly love ourselves, which that can take some time, When we learn to truly love ourselves, then that love really helps us to it's reflected from the inside out, and so it extends to those around us. It's the bottom line. We hear so much, those of us who grew up in church, love thy neighbor, which we should. First and foremost, love the most high God. Let's talk about what that means and how do we love ourselves, because God is on the inside, right? So what does that mean? How do we walk that out? So that's what we are going to talk about today. I see Whitney taking notes. I love it. I'm a note taker. So if you have your pen and paper, you want to jot down some notes, feel free to do so. But I'm going to start with a piece of poetry that I wrote almost 20 years ago. I've recently started sharing my poetry again, and it is healing. And so I'm just grateful just to be in that space again. Because, Sage, as an artist and a healer, you have your seasons, right? And so, even with regards to your work and being able to create. So, I'm going to share this piece, and then it's just going to usher us right into these 3 points within this topic. This is called Where's My Place? Can somebody please tell me where my place is? I really would like to know. Sometimes I think I have some sort of conception, but maybe, just maybe, that idea is really just a desire premonition. I'm in search of my place, my cause to be in, my potential brought into being. I'm speaking of my position, where I fit, where I belong, where I'm safe, where I can grow, where I can prosper, where I can shine, where I can simply be who I was born to be, where I'm free to be God's blessed creativity. Can somebody please help me? Help me to find my place. Where's my place? I really would like to know. So I wrote that piece 20 years ago. And so 20 years ago, I was in my 20s. Around your age, Miss Whitney, I think, somewhere around there. Sort of, okay. so that's where I was just searching and seeking for my place. And I realized as I continued to write, as I inadvertently wrote pieces that kind of answered that question over the years, I realized that it was not up to anybody to tell me where my place was. That was between me and my creator, and would take some time to discover. And I'm still evolving and still seeking some things out and still healing. But when I think about that 20 something year old me, she was searching. She was certain, where do I fit in? And there are reasons for that as well. Of course, as you come into your own, and we'll visit that later. But where do I belong? Where's my safe place? And so when I fast forward a few years later from that piece, there came, I became me through loving you. That was several years later. And it goes, I became me through loving you. Through loving you, I became somebody. I became somebody through loving you. Through loving you, I became me. I belong right here. My place is in this space. Life and its complexities propel me into your presence. Who am I? I am her. I am that woman. Through loving you, I became me. Who am I? I am her. I am that girl. I am you. Through loving you, I became me. Life and its complexities propel me into your presence. Hold me. Hold me close. Listen gently to my heart beats. Beat, beat. My mind needs your advisability. At times, I feel as though my breath has been muffled by the heartaches of this world. I run to you. I need to feel your presence. I need to hear your voice. You propel me to see myself outside of myself, that little girl that was once me. innocent, naive, lacking some in wisdom and understanding, seeking and seeking. What was she seeking? A woman existing on this earth at that particular time for about 30 something years, still growing, still learning, still hurting, still loving, still dancing, still hoping, loving more despite the complexities of life, despite the heartbreaks of life, incomplete, but seeking wholeness from you. I became me through loving you. Through loving you, I became somebody. I became somebody through loving you. Through loving you, I became me. I belong right here. You belong right here in this space. My place is in this space. Who am I? I am her. I am woman. Through loving you, I became me. Your place is in this space right here, right now, through love. And it's so interesting how, when you look at the fabric of our life, I had no idea, of course, on this day, I would be sitting here with these two beautiful women and those who are in the virtual audience talking about a poem that I wrote 20 years ago and more than 10 years ago about love, about divine love, about seeking home. Really, that's what we're seeking, home. Home while here on this earth. What feels like home? What's healthy? What's beautiful? What is well? What is safe? I had no idea that all these years later, I would still be talking about it and still growing and growing into the fullness of who I am still. And so we talk about today's subject, the power that is within. The power that is within. We think about that word power. We think about the words healing. Think about the words love. And that's what we're celebrating. We are still celebrating love. That's one of the reasons I'm here today. We celebrate the holidays, several holidays with regards to love in February, right? But that's a lifelong journey. We're celebrating this month. Today's the last day of the month of February, but still, with regards to Black history, to me and for me, that's 365, 365 days a year. As for me, I am Black history, I am Black present, I am Black future. And so when we think about celebrating culture, our identity, when we think about celebrating love, those things are weaved together, because you can't celebrate something that you don't care about. You can't celebrate someone that you don't care about. Now I can't speak for everybody. Some people may not care. And we're not just talking about romantic love. We're talking about a love that extends to our loved ones, that extends to, that starts within. Even those that are difficult to love. And hey, sometimes that may be our own selves, right? So I want to make sure that we understand that love is multifaceted. And so as we get further in today's message, I want to stop and just thank my divine heavenly host for being here, our great ancestors, as I was reminded of a quote that I love by Sister Enola Sage. It says, I come as one. This is Maya Angelou, but I stand with 10,000, even to the 10th power and more. So we come as one, but we are not alone. That right there is key. Because oftentimes, I'll speak for me, sometimes even when you're in relationship with loved ones, you may be married or single, sometimes you feel alone. And it's important for us to remember that we are not alone, even when it feels otherwise. And we have to be mindful, and that we're going to talk about that in healing and loving ourselves. We have to be mindful of what we choose to believe.
Mm.
about ourselves, and we have to be mindful with regards to, to discerning what is true and what is not. As the late Maya Angelou, Dr. Maya Angelou, I call her auntie. So she's still blessing and inspiring me for over 30 years since I discovered her and think in junior high or what have you. I still am just so inspired by her. A quote that she has, it says, allow yourself to heal from the
Mm.
lies that you have been told and the ones that you have told yourself about who you are. All right. So I believe the table has been set. Are we ready to go in a little deeper?
I'm ready.
Okay. Who's on the line? I saw somebody
Yeah.
pop up. We got people in the room.
Yeah, we have Miss Gregory, who is actually one of our commissioners at the Lexington Housing Authority. So always glad to
Hello.
have her in the room. We have is it Miss Spikes? Miss
Uh-huh. Sharo, my sister friend.
Yes,
Hey.
she's in the room. Also have Miss Middlebrooks, who is my sister, who's in
Hey,
the room.
sister.
Yes, and we have Miss Jude Hostler also in the
All
room. But
right. Hey,
there's
Jude.
actually about 14 people on the line now. They just didn't
Okay.
comment. They was a little shy. It's okay. So
Okay.
we got some people in the room. So
Good, because we talk about, being a speaker and being an artist and a communicator. And like Whitney said earlier, engagement is so important. And engagement, but energy, right? Because it's a little different now. We're sitting at home on a computer trying to connect the best way we can. It
mhm.
never replaces in-person interaction, but we're grateful to be able to do what we can, how we can, and when we can. So I'm looking forward to seeing your comments. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So we're going to continue forward. We're going to start with loving ourselves. Again, the power within, loving ourselves. So I shared those two pieces, and I shared with you just a little bit about when I wrote those pieces, the age I was, because we know every decade there's new revelation as far as our, where you are in life, right? And so I'm in my 40s now. I can't believe it happened in an instant. And so just thinking about some of the experiences that I've had, the decisions I've made, mistakes, lessons I've learned, also some of the accomplishments, some of the heavy lifetimes, and just where I am. I do a lot of reflection, where I am today, and really just charting that path forward. And I myself have to be reminded at times to care for myself, to love myself. And I want to make sure we understand. I know all of you here know you are some beautiful and bright people. We're not talking about some of the things that we see out there in society. We're not talking about self-indulging. We're not talking about vanity. We're not talking about selfishness, but we're talking about love and what that means. How do I love myself more? How do I care for myself more? What does that look like? Well, let's go back to the basics. Let's see, what does love mean? What is love? We use that word not just when it comes to people, food. Oh, I love candy yams. I really do. That's just an example. I love sweet potatoes. I love this. Oh, I love that movie. That's my favorite movie. Oh, I love to travel. Okay, and love, I always say love is an action. It's a noun too, but it's an action. So let's talk about that. What is love? In Webster's dictionary online, it says that love is said to be an intense feeling, a deep affection, a great interest, and a pleasure in something, a person, or a thing that one loves. So it could be a loved one, or we use the term sometimes beloved. Iyanla Vanzant uses that term, beloved. So it can be a noun or a verb. It is a deep affection for someone, and that can be romantic or a loved one, a family member, a friend. To like or enjoy something very much, to delight in it. I love that word, delight. That's one of my words, delights and serenity and just those words. And for those of us who are, okay, all right, you. Those of us who are from the church or grew up in church, we understand that in the church there are four descriptions of love. In or some people say the good book in the Bible. One specifically is agape love, and agape is unconditional love. It doesn't matter. We might fall out. We might not agree. That happens because we're human. But I love you. That's unconditional love. And there are other types of love. And then also we are called to love ourselves, love God, love our neighbor, love God with all our heart, our mind, our strength, right? What does that mean? Because oftentimes we're taught that God is separate from us, right? We're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on that. So let's get back to love. Those definitions, I just challenge you to think about that: a deep affection, to delight in, a deep affection for something or someone. So, in thinking about the definitions of love, the question is, do you love yourself? Do you have a deep affection for yourself? Do you delight in yourself? Do you laugh at yourself? Because we have to laugh at ourselves sometimes. Do you like being around yourself? Earlier, we touched on just loneliness, and a lot of people are experiencing that now, of all ages, because we are primarily in the house, right? Even if you're in the house with people, sometimes it can still be a lonely road, depending on where you're at and depending on where they're at. So, in that, being alone doesn't have to be gruesome, for lack of a better word. It can be a time of healing, a time of reflection and introspection, a time of beauty, a time to create, a time to relax, a time to rest and recover, a time to get to know ourselves a bit more. So, do you love you? Do you love being around you? The next question is, how do you show yourself love? What does that look like? What does it look like for you to care for yourself? Miss Tina Turner said, and those who know me know that I love quotes. I've been collecting quotes for a very long time. I just love wisdom and quotes. And Miss Tina, and she knows now, said that you must love and care for yourself because that is when the best comes out. Think about her journey.
Yeah.
It wasn't until she actually came into that place of love and confidence that she stepped out of a very volatile, unhealthy, abusive situation and said, no more, no more. I love myself too much to continue to subject myself to this. I love me. And it was on after that, even more so. I'm sure that I know that there was fear there to do that.
Oh, yeah.
But we are reminded that we move forward, not in fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. Some of you know exactly where I'm coming from. Power, love, and a sound mind. And it is not always easy. So when we think about loving ourselves and caring for ourselves, how do you show that? How do you show yourself that you love yourself? Some ways that I show myself that I love myself and that I'm caring for myself, because sometimes we get busy with everything else and doing everything, doing for others, serving, and sometimes, especially as women, we fall short. We come last,
Mhm.
because of the way we were created and why we're, for the most part, nurturing, right? We care, we show love, we want to help, we want to be there for our loved ones, for our spouses, for our sister friends, for, just everybody, organizations, right? We are on the front line. And I'm not saying that the men aren't. You are, I know, but I'm talking about the women right now. And that oftentimes, by the time we take care of everything and everybody else, really not much energy left for our own selves. And in this day and age, with what we're facing collectively and what some of us are working through individually, we cannot continue forward like that because it's not healthy. So let's think about love. There are ways that we can show ourselves love. Some of those ways, for me, prayer and continuous communication with the Most High, seeking, being still so I can hear. Earlier today, as I was preparing and just in my morning regimen, I'm praying and, doing my meditation and affirmations. And after I got finished praying and meditating, I stood in the sun and, okay, all right, let me go on. I'm like, no, the Spirit says, stop, listen, wait a minute, slow down. And so that is also a part of loving yourself, carving out time, even if it's 10 minutes, to be still. And I've heard people say, and I'm a witness, ooh, all those thoughts, it's hard to be still. It's hard to meditate. All this stuff running through my mind. And I know it takes time. And what we don't want to do as we are in that place of meditation, as we're in that place of stillness, of which I am learning more and more about, is to bring condemnation upon ourselves because our minds are all over the place, right? Oh, just be still, stop all these thoughts. That's counterproductive. So one of the things I recommend is just be gentle with yourself. Speak those affirmations. I am at a place of peace. My thoughts do not control me. I am empowered in this moment. I value peace. I am peace. I am grateful for this moment. I am fully present. Those are some of the things that we have to say to ourselves in order for us to calm down. Because think about these beautiful bodies and how we were created, powerful beings. We don't have to think about our heart beating. We don't have to think about breathing. Now we do need to breathe and take deep breaths, right? We don't have to think. Our body just functions as it was designed to do. We don't have to think about blinking our eyes or anything. It's so fascinating. But when we have the power to calm ourselves down, it's not always easy, especially in these high stress times. High stress, high strung, some of us may be, high anxiety. So in addition to getting help that we need, and sometimes that may be professional help, seeking a therapist, of course, going to the doctor as well, getting those preventative appointments scheduled. And for me, even growing more with a wisdom and information with regards to holistic healing. What can I do to help myself? Because we are not helpless. Contrary to what we've been made to believe, we are not helpless beings. As Marianne Williamson's Return to Love, that poem, our deepest fear, we are powerful beyond measure. Sometimes we forget, but we are powerful beyond measure because the Spirit of the Most High God, the Divine One, is within us, our Creator. And so we have to just think about that. Yes, we get weary. Yes, we get weak. Yes, we get tired. But we have the capacity to love ourselves and to help ourselves through. and help one another. I got excited when I saw some of the those who are on the, I was going to say, call in the session. My sister friend Sharo, having a sister that cares for you and vice versa. Me and Sage talk that genuinely cares for you. If you have more than one, you're doing so good. Whether it's a blood sister or a divine alignment, a brother friend. For the brothers, I know I'm not overlooking you. You might be in the audience. I hope that you are. But having those healthy connections to where you don't have to put on, that's part of loving yourself. Being able to have those authentic relationships. And I believe I have friends and we have acquaintances and associates, but really, you only have the capacity to entertain so many people, you know? That's just as far as, when we talk about the intimacy and really knowing you and vice versa and putting in that time, quality time. So, what does it look like for you to love yourself? What quality of people and friends do you have around you that speak life into you and that will hold you accountable too? All right, now, girl, I hear you talking and I understand. I would be upset too. But did you really have to say that? Did you really have to say that way? Sis, that really did have some stank on it. I understand. But you might want to just think about it. You know I love you. So I'm just telling you because I love you. Those are the type of relationships that I value and that are of value. Those who will support you, and support is different to different people. But those who have your back and your front, that you don't even have to pick up the phone. Sometimes I say, ooh, I know some prayers are going up for me right now. I can feel it. In the midst of troubling times, I'm like, ooh, my mother must be praying. Oh, my sister, for somebody's praying for me right now. That's love. That's the love that we extend to ourselves. That's the love that we extend towards one another. So as we talk about what does it look like to love yourself, we're talking about prayer, meditation, affirmations. Those few affirmations that I did earlier, affirmations are powerful. Let's see. Oh, you know what, Patricia? The one that tells you your slip is hanging. Listen, I'm just glad that some people besides me still wear slips, okay? People make fun. You still wear slip. Listen, I'm old school. That's how my mother raised me, okay? And then my grandmother. So yes, and some of them are old school. So yes. Now, I've had people say, actually, this I'm really veering off to the side, but you got me with that one. I remember it was years ago, but it was still in the new millennium. I had on a slip at the job I was working at the time. It was hanging, and my coworker, we had a phenomenal team, communications and marketing, and a phenomenal leader, phenomenal team. I'm so grateful for that time in my life. Well, my slip was hanging down, and one of my teammates noticed, and then the other one, I think it was our boss actually, and another team busted out laughing. One person fell on the floor. You still wear slips? Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! I mean, it was, and I was so confused. I didn't know what was so funny. I know that clothing has advanced since then, support clothing. I understand that. But yes, you need a good friend that will say, you might want to go to the restroom. Before this session, I said, I'm so glad I looked in the mirror because I had lipstick all on my teeth. Now, some people get upset when you say, oh, you got a little something on your face, or you may want to go blow your nose. Don't be telling me. Oh, okay. Well, just trying to look out for you. Everybody can't receive love in different forms. So we have to be mindful of that. But yes, indeed, people who will tell us the truth in love. And we are all at a different place. I want to say family. It's okay if I use the word family. Okay, good. We're all at a different place, and everybody may not be in the space to receive love with regards to accountability, you know. And yeah, we have to understand that. And so, and even speaking to me, everybody's not about self-development. Everybody's not about personal empowerment. Everybody doesn't have a growth mindset, right? And that's not for me to control. But those that are and want to do better and be better, we want to align ourselves with, so we can be better and do better together and learn how to love ourselves better and learn how to love one another. There's a term called Ubuntu. Some of you may know what that means, right? I am because we are. It's an African term. I am, and not just a term, but a way of living. I am because we are. I am because you are. That's love. And we have got to get back to that type of community love and community mindedness. Oh, it's sure not easy. And I'm talking about as a people of African ancestry, and I'm talking about our humanity overall, with so much turmoil going on domestically, internationally. We have to get back to that place of love. There's so many songs that have been written about it. There's so many poems that have been written about it. Love. So, what does it mean to love yourself, ladies and gents, brothers and sisters? How do you show love to yourself? How do you show up for yourself daily? What are some of the things and practices that you do? Eating healthier. For me and to me, eating healthier are acts of love, self love for you and your loved ones so you can be around longer. Moving your body, even if it's a stretch, even if it's a brisk walk, as you are able, because not everybody's able, but as you're able, being able to move, that is an act of love. Let me stretch these arms. Let me swing these hips. Yes, let me swing these hips. Like Maya Angelou said it. Phenomenal. I think it was Phenomenal Woman. Let me move. Because we know that when we're stagnant, yes, we have to rest at times. Yeah, I know that to be true. You have to take time sometimes and be still and rest and recover. I'm in that space right now, believe it or not. But we also have to be sure that we're moving. I'm not talking about we got to keep it moving. We got to grind, hustle, hustle. I'm not talking about that, because we have seen what that can do to us as a people, as people. Yes, we work hard, work smart, some people would say. We handle our responsibilities, but the grind, hustle, hustle, team, no sleep, that, some of us may even say it before. It's all about balance. It's all about balance. It's about harmony with our divine selves, divine alignment, divine flow. My harmony, my balance may not look like yours over here, right? But it's about being in harmony and in balance and at peace within. And what do I need to do daily to help me get there and to stay there throughout the day? I can't imagine doing my AM regimen once a week or every other week. Oh, that would not be good. So let me get up. My part of mine, I get up. I have water. I take my plant-based vitamins. There's other nutritionals that I take. Of course, I say my prayers, I give thanks, meditate. And if you have to get up a little earlier to do these things, that's okay. But to set the foundation for your day, that's what we're talking about. Because we never know what we may have to deal with. This morning, power outage. It's like, that's random. No storm or anything. Power outage that affected over 1,000 people. And I'm like, oh my goodness, have this presentation today. Okay, let me just remain calm, and everything's gonna be okay. Said a prayer, and I said, wow, we're talking about power today. The power within. The power has gone out, but the power will be fully restored. I texted my sister friend. I said, say a prayer. The power's out. This, and then I said, this is so timely. It's so timely. And then the power was restored. I said, you see, power fully restored. So today, what we want for you, and I am watching the time, is for your power to be fully restored. It can happen like that. And when I say like that, you may have been suffering with whatever you're suffering. If you are suffering, if it's mentally, emotionally, physically, relationship wise, and next thing you know, power fully restored, fully restored. And part of that is our belief. Part of that is our faith that our power, our divine power, will and can be fully restored. Sometimes, especially lately with some of the things that I've been dealing with, my mother has to remind me. She can give a pep talk. I'm like, man, Mom, thank you. And sometimes we have to do that for each other, right? To be able to bring me back as I entertain thoughts that are not healthy. It happens to the best of us, that are not true. As we go get into that pity party, it happens to the best of us. That's why we need each other, to be able to say, okay, I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna come to that party for about 5 minutes. Come to your party for about 5 minutes, and then both of us are leaving. We got to leave the party. So because we don't want to operate in false positivity, right? Oh, it's great, everything's good, we're staying positive. It's not about not acknowledging our pain, because our pain is our pain. But okay, this is happening. This did happen. How do I move forward? What does that look like for me? How do I love myself back to life? Oh, thank you. I'm sorry, y'all. How do I love myself back to life? How do I move forward in the light? How do I stay in the light? What does that look like for me, bit by bit, day by day? What does that look like for you? And that's my question for you. What does it look like to love yourself? What has stopped you from loving yourself fully? It's a rhetorical questions, and we can discuss more at the end. But what has stopped you from loving yourself fully, or loving yourself to the capacity that you are able? It could be childhood trauma in your teens, young adult. You may need to forgive yourself for some things. You may need to forgive others as well. It's not always easy, I know, and it cannot be rushed. But what has kept you from loving yourself fully, liking yourself, moving forward in your unique essence? It could be grief. It's a grievous time right now. It is a, um, a heavy time for a lot of families, my family's included. What has intercepted your love for yourself? And what can you do? Thank you, Sage. That smile I just looked and saw your smile. You too, Whitney. I see you thinking. When those eyes go up, I see you thinking. What has intercepted your love for yourself? And how can you get the love that you had for yourself back, or develop greater love for yourself starting today? What is one thing you can do to love yourself better, to love yourself greater? One thing daily that you can do to love yourself better. Writing, that's therapeutic for me. Again, moving. Maybe you change one eating habit. Okay, I'm not going to eat after 7 o'clock anymore. Okay, you know what? I'm only going to eat, these are examples, fried foods on every other Friday. What does that look like to you? I'm going to eat more fruits and vegetables. I'm going to double my water intake because I know I need to drink more water. I'm going to get more rest. So if that means I have to power down from social media or whatever other distractions at this particular time so I can go to sleep earlier and have a restful night, what does that look like for you? What are some habits that you need to adopt to love and care for yourself more? To love yourself more better.
This is
The
a good
next
comment. I wanted to share this comment
okay.
from this is a good comment. She says that she's intentional about loving others but not herself. I commit today to intentionally love myself, which will restore my power. That's awesome.
Yes, all of that. And I'm so glad, Cheryl, that you brought that up. because we can love on some other folks. We can be there for family members, friends, or what have you. But when it comes to us, even extending compassion to ourselves, we can be hard on ourselves. But okay, what can I do? Like you said, I am going to be intentional. And that's the word right there about loving myself more and understanding what that looks like in the examples that I've shared today. And that's not all. There are other ways as well. It may look like, you know what, done with toxic relationships, whether it's friendships or if you're single, romantic relate, whatever. You know what? I may have to love this person from a distance. Boundaries is an act of self-love. Now we're not talking about, we're in this culture. Cut them off, cut them off. We see that everywhere. Let it go, cut them off. There are times you may need to do that for a while, and we have to be careful how we do that. And you can still be kind and listen to people and hear people out. But if it's constant negativity, constant heaviness, you may need to adopt some boundaries. That's right. No, respect my no. And the last thing I'm going to say about this is, because I want to move into quickly, this time goes so quickly, heal yourself and free yourself, is that when you start saying no, and when you start saying not right now, or I'll have to get back with you on that, when you start saying no more, watch how some people react. That's going to tell you some things. We're talking about business, professional, personal life, what have you. When you start saying no or no more, get ready. Especially if you've been a person that just extends yourself so much, always serving, always caring, always being there, being the people pleaser. Maybe you just have a heart of service or what have you. When you start saying, I'm not going to be able to commit to that. I love you. I've showed you support before, and I'm grateful for that. And you have me, but I'm not going to be able to make it this time. Or, you know what? I'm in a different season of life. I'm not going to be able to do that right now. I'm working on a few goals of my own. I really don't have the capacity to take that on right now, but I love you. Or I'm grateful even for the invitation. Or, you know what? Some things have to change with regards to our relationship. Watch how some people respond. That will tell you some things. Let's move on to heal thyself, because they all go hand in hand. Healing. We hear that word a lot now too. Healing, health, and wellness. And that's one of the things Sage just shared about my newsletter, Edify. It's called Edify Newsletter. And it's about communal wellness. And it's still fairly new and young, but it's about communal wellness, sacred wisdom, history, arts, and culture as a people of African ancestry, and what that looks like, and offering those tips and insight in those specific areas. So when we talk about healing, I want to pause and say, for me, I have been on a path of healing for quite some time, physically, emotionally. I recently completed a holistic health and wellness program with Queen Afua. Some of you may be familiar. And I'm just so grateful for some of the things that were reinforced, some of the things that I learned. But I had to commit to do that for me. With regards to specific areas, I had to make the sacrifice and time and finances for my healing. I've also undergone some healing medically and in other ways as well. So let's talk about healing. What does healing mean? Healing is to cause a wound or injury or a person to become sound or healthy again, to make better, to be restored, to get on the road to recovery. An example is time can help heal the pain of grief, to connect, to correct, or make right. Let's think about that for a minute when it comes to healing. And healing is really not a one-time thing with regards to some things. I mean, you may, fall and get a fracture. That takes time to heal, but it's ever evolving as we grow, and it's multifaceted. And it's essential right now where we are as a people. Healing is one of the prime needs of the hour. Healing from the inside out. What does that mean for you? How can you help to heal yourself? Again, I'm not saying don't go to the doctor and don't you medical healing is important, holistic healing is important, but what does it look like for you right where you are to help heal yourself? Going out in nature. Again, prayer, meditation, writing, the arts, music, which I love. How can you help to heal yourself and to move forward in that healing on a regular basis? There was a quote I found that says, healing doesn't mean the damage never existed. It means the damage no longer controls our minds. So we're talking about mental, emotional, and physical as well. What can I do? How can I change my diet? So if people, how can I change my diet to help me heal? What do I need to eliminate or incorporate to help with my healing? What steps will you take today to help with your healing? The power is within. The power is within. And then lastly, I'm rushing now because time goes by fast. Freeing yourself. Come on now. If we love ourselves, if we commit to healing ourselves, then we're at the same time freeing ourselves, right? Freedom. What does that mean? The power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. Sometimes the hindrance and restraint is our own selves, our own minds, our own thoughts. It's not always external, right? Our own overthinking, which is a fallout from fear. Fear can do a number. Fear can hinder every single area that we're talking about, loving ourselves, healing ourselves, freeing ourselves. But again, remember, as we shared earlier, we have not been given the spirit of fear by the Most High, but that of love, power, and a sound mind. I have to recite that to myself sometimes. Help me to walk in love, power, and a sound mind. I walk in love, power, and a sound mind. I am free. I walk in my emancipation. I walk in my liberation. We've had so many ancestors that told us, get your mind right. Don't allow anybody to control your mind. I can name some of them: Marcus Garvey, Bob Marley. Who else? Dr. Martin Luther King. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Mm-hmm. And that's a whole nother workshop. When we talk about what does freedom mean, it says the state of not being imprisoned or enslaved, the state of being unrestricted and able to move easily. Are you free? Are you free? Are you getting free? What has you bound? We are not helpless. The power is within. How can you take steps today, as with self love, as with self care, as with self healing? What steps can you take today to help to free yourself? Because as a people, we're still getting free, okay? We still have trauma. Yes, indeed. I love that quote. Hey, that's Dominique. Hey there, husband. Healing begins where the wound was made. That's it. And that's not easy, going back to where those wounds were made. Healing begins where the wound was made. And speaking of husband, relationships. Sometimes you got to go back to where those wounds were made, and we can surely wound each other in relationships, all relationships. And going back and eating that humble pie, okay, let's get to it. Let's take these band-aids off. Yeah. I mean, because you have to put down your ego. And that's not easy, male or female. That's not always easy because we want to protect ourselves, right? But if we're really trying to heal, we got to go back. Sometimes you can't go back to where that wound was made, if it's a family situation, if it was abuse or what have you. But again, we are not powerless. We may not ever get an apology. Person might be gone on, or they may not even think they owe you one. But what can I do in the power that I have right now to be able to move forward and get the healing I need? And also break these negative generational patterns. How can I do that? What does that look like to get free? Are you free? How can you work on getting free? And there was a quote, there's a therapist that I follow online, Dr. Is it Thema? I think it's Dr. Thema. I remember her saying that liberation or freedom and liberation is not necessarily being freed from something, but being free to go to something. to
Mm.
embrace what the divine has for you, to be able to freely embrace the love that is for you and the love that is you. So that's what we're talking about. The power is within. I hope you got some great information. You were able to take some notes. Again, we are not powerless. We were created in the image of the Most High. We have everything we need inside of us and collectively as a people to move forward in our healing, in our love, in our communal healing, in our communal wellness, in our communal love. Yes, there are some things that are outside of our control. There are a lot of things that are outside our control, but there are some things that we can do if we are willing to. Last year's message in one of my talks, say yes to you. If you can keep the right people around you and keep the right thoughts at the forefront, because when those negative thoughts come, we got to say, okay, you got to go. You can't live here. Recognizing them when they come, observing the thoughts that you have. That's powerful right there. When I came into that space, the real you, it was a quote. Oh gosh, I forget the gentleman's name on Super Soul Sunday with Oprah. He said, the real you is when you're able to observe your own thoughts. So getting to that place, working through the things, we have so much to work through as human beings. And then of people of African ancestry, if you're from a ethnic, thank you, ethnic group that has endured horrific conditions, that's trauma. And we're not talking enough about that. That's trauma, generational trauma.
Mm.
And it's not just in the past, it's also in the present. So how do I heal and stuff keeps popping off? Excuse my language. How can we heal and things keep happening? It's not easy, but in the things that I share, we can. And finally, I saw an interview just recently, and I said, Mom, you got to turn this on. Got to watch this with Sharon Stone and Oprah Winfrey, and the things that that woman has gone through. Woo! You know, some people may just remember her from the movies or, like she said, her public persona, humanitarian. The woman, her heart, just her journey, what she's lived through, getting a second and third chance of life, where she is. Gratitude is everything. And that for me was like, oh my goodness, it's something when we hear one another's stories. When we hear one another's stories and we take time to listen and understand that you are not the only one going through whatever it is that you're going through. Mm-mm. And so our shared humanity right now, love is one of the prime needs of the hour. And that starts within our shared humanity. Okay? Our shared humanity, love, peace, power, healing, wellness, freedom, joy, grace, compassion, empathy, prime needs of the hour. Will you answer the call starting within? Will you tap into that power that is within you? Will you do so today? If you've already been, will you continue to do so today? Will you help light someone else's fire? Share your light with them. Will you continue to reflect love and light and truth? Will you continue forward in wisdom? Will you tap into your own distinct, beautiful, divine power today? Love yourself, heal yourself, free yourself, be well today and moving forward.
I want to basically thank you. I want you to know that I appreciate you. I bless you. I thank God for you.
Mm.
And last year was wonderful, but I want to say the way we came about this topic was it just dropped out. And I said, you better write that down. And
Yes, sir. That's right.
you said that's the talk, right? And
Yes,
so I want to say, speaking those last words of encouragement into my spirit, I thank you for that. Speaking words of encouragement into your own spirit is a habit that I have because I can't keep looking for it to come from outside.
Woo.
I know that when you talk about healing yourself and what it means to be human, I learned is that we have a responsibility one to another.
Oh, yes.
That's what it means to be human. So I'm very clear that when we have leadership, I don't care how high, if they only can see separation, division, and personal success and not communal, then that whole idea of being separate from one another, separate from our higher source and power, means that we have some of the weakest and most broken leading us. I'm
Mm,
very clear about that, and I unapologetically reveal that. Not from a place of judgment or criticism, but from a place of deep compassion and empathy that has gone on far too long.
yes,
You know what
indeed.
I'm saying? Someone's hurting my sister. Somebody's hurting my brother. That's gone on far too long
I'm
because
telling you.
all of us are in this together. And
That's right.
we have to have compassion and empathy for our leaders. But when people lose their way, their guidance might come from where they least expect it.
Ooh,
Thank you so much. I thank Miss Whitney for another time together in which everything just unfolded as it was supposed to. Whitney, my heart goes out to you. She's sitting here having lost a family member, holding this space.
yes.
You said so much that
Mhm.
I didn't have to ask you what I wanted to ask you because what I wanted to say, and Whitney and I hold this space for people at Lexington Housing Authority. And it's you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. And I wanted to say, well, Kia, knowing the healing that people need, what can we do to get them to engage more? And you said it all.
Mm,
You said everything. Whitney, am I telling the truth? And so when it comes to that self pity, I know it well. We can't feel sorry for ourselves when we woke up this morning, right?
woo,
We got another chance to do something different. And so that pity party, you mentioned it, I was taught you're going to be the only guest and the honored guest. You can't afford,
I love that.
you
That's
can't afford.
it.
Yeah.
And so when you say free yourself, there's this truth that I just came upon. You can't keep asking somebody for your freedom and
Woo,
expecting them to give you something that was never theirs to give.
that's right. That. Come on. Can you say it one more time,
You
please?
cannot keep asking others for your freedom when you can expect someone to give you something that was never theirs to give.
A freedom that we were born with.
Each and every one of us is in the Constitution. It says
Come on now.
inalienable rights, right?
Come on.
Inalienable, endowed by the Creator.
Yes.
This message is for everyone. It is not just for the people in the Lexington household. It's not just for the cultural ethnic group. It is for all of us who
Everybody.
understand our humanity.
That's right.
That is the power that is being restored for me
That's
to
right. And
embrace
we speak.
my full humanity.
That's
Means
it.
my full humanity means that I can't afford to hate you because I'm too busy trying to make sure that I create something for the next generations to flourish.
Just like
Not
our ancestors were thinking of us, just like our greats and our grandmothers were thinking of us, we have a responsibility, like you said. When you think about the days, some of our days growing up, some of those shared experience, that communal love,
and you
the
said
grains and the shared
shared
experience.
humanity.
Yes, that's
Shared
right.
humanity.
That's right.
I am just Lord. Whitney, you have the final remarks, Miss Whitney, because I can't. This is just
Um, I was just like full right now, so you've literally said everything, and as
Mm,
it ties back into our, residents and our community, specifically in Lexington, I do hope that we had just one person right on the line that could hear that and receive it, because
mhm.
oftentimes the environment, what we're seeing is the only thing
That's
people can
right.
grasp. So I just really hope that someone was touched
Yeah.
and could receive that they have so much power in a lot of their circumstances, so
Yes.
much what that looks like to move forward, to know
Yes.
that they are capable and have all the tools. And even if we need to assist along the way, but it's all within. It
That's
literally
it.
all within. And I'm grateful. And
Yeah.
I'm always taking notes and everything.
I see you taking those notes.
Oh
And Whitney and Sage, we could spend several more hours sharing what we've endured, right? What we've made it through. And so even though there's a saying, it's church saying, I'm glad I don't look like what I've been through. Okay?
yeah.
Come on, we can take it to church now. We're
Yeah.
well-rounded people. We can take it to the organization, take it to church, take it to community meeting. But when
Yes.
we think about what we have made it through,
Mhm.
I give thanks for that because
Mhm.
life is not it's not going to be it's not always easy
Mhm.
regardless of how some people may think or what have you. Wherever you are in Lexington, wherever you might be, just know that whatever you might be facing, you are not the only one. We have stories. I know all three of us sitting here today, even up to this day, are working through some things.
Yes.
So I'm grateful for the opportunity. I know we're over time. I want to encourage us all to stand tall like the trees,
Yeah.
deeply rooted, feel the breeze,
Mhm.
branches long, foundation strong, colors bright. I see the lights. Stand tall like the trees, deeply rooted, feel that breeze. Ancestral strong, sing a song, the glory of the Lord all day long. Stand tall like the trees, deeply rooted, feel the breeze.
Mm. I love that. I love it. I have one more comment just from Miss Kathy. Very strong, inspired presentation. So she's very grateful for this, and we just hope that
Great. Thank
everyone.
you, Mama.
Oh, no, that was a good note to end on. I do encourage others, even if you're not connected specifically to the Lexington Housing Authority, every month we do have amazing speakers that provide information in reference to the mind, body, soul. And then we do very resource based presentations through credit, your finances, and other things that can be more, tangible to apply to maybe your career or whatever that looks like. So I encourage you all to stay connected with us. We're always going to have some good stuff going. And this is also a good note to end on. And she said, thank you so much for this talk. It's further confirmation for my healing. So Miss Mercedes, that was a great note to end on. Again, please, if you all have not liked our page, please like our page to keep updated with what we're going to be doing and the great things that we have in store for 2022. So thank you all so much. I will leave her information or website, and if anybody wanted to contact or reach out to her through her services that she offers.
Yes.
And looking forward to see you all next month. Thank you all. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.